On this episode of A Bit Spursy, we discuss our favourite goals from the emphatic win against Newcastle, our reactions to Destiny Udogie's new contract, our thoughts on Dejan Kulusevski's striking new mask, whether we should sell or keep Cristian Romero, racial biases in football commentary, why Callum Wilson was really upset with Gigi Vicario, and we choose our favourite player from our new signings.
Welcome to A Bit Spursy. Train all day, a bit Spursy all night. That's our slogan.
Yep, and we're ready to train. Actually, wait, it's the middle of the day. We're training, right? We're training.
Yeah, we're
training mode.
Yeah. That's right. We've signed a deal with Joe Rogan. We are now the same podcast.
Yep. So we're gonna have some hot takes. We're gonna have some conspiracy theories. We're gonna have what else is on that pod? Like, do you listen to Joe Rogan?
Oh, very rarely. Only when he has wrestlers on. And even then, well, a lot of controversy after The Rock was on there. So
what happened with The Rock on there?
He just said a lot of bullshit and wasn't really answering the questions. It was terrible. I mean, I hate it, to be honest with you. It's a terrible podcast. Joe Rogan just fucking swings and misses most of the time. They don't do any research.
Okay, great.
Like this podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, if research is the barometer, then all right, that doesn't bode well.
Anyway, if you've just stumbled across this, my name is Barney.
My name is Dan.
And this is A Bit Spursy. And we are going to talk about Tottenham Hotspur, which I guess you would have got hopefully from the thumbnail / the thing on Spotify. If you're watching this, I'm going to do something special just for you if you're watching it.
Hey, there we go. Well, if you're listening, you're going to have to come on and find out what Barney just did.
It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. I was a fan of it. We've had a week off.
Yes.
Also, in which just coincidentally there were a few losses. And I guess the draw against City, but like we had a few losses in there. But then we win against Newcastle quite convincingly. And we're back with another pod.
And it's just coincidence. It's like got nothing to do with wins or losses. It's just sometimes how things come to... I have a theory, actually, Dan, that previously we would always get a spike in listenership when we lost, right? When we were first starting out. And I think the opposite is now true. When we lose, people are in a really bad mood, and they're like, I don't want to listen to those idiots talk about, like, Tottenham Hotspur, the film, starring... who would play Daniel Levy?
John Malkovich.
John Malkovich, starring... Is that just because he's bald?
Yeah, that's the only bald guy that came to mind. Just off the top. Doesn't look like him at all, apart from the baldness.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that works. They don't want to listen to that. They want to get angry, which is understandable. I get that.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it's like I think it definitely has flipped. Like when we are playing well, I think there's people who are keener just to consume all the Spursy content that they can. And yeah, it's like, all right, we'll listen to this podcast. We'll listen to that. We'll listen to that. But I think, yeah, when you lose a few games, it just becomes like I want to take a break from consuming everything Tottenham Hotspur right now until things get good again.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. Well, let's not check that in the research. That's just a fact. So we won, Dan, and we won well.
Yeah. Did you watch this live at 3 a.m.? 3:30 a.m.?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either. But it was quite the turnaround from recent results. Like I don't necessarily look at this and go, we've been playing massively different. It just seemed in other games we didn't really convert many of our chances there. But this one, things seemed to go our way a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true. And like Newcastle were terrible. Like they were bad. They were really bad. And so that was nice timing to have a team that is completely burnt from the Champions League have to play us after all those years of us, doing the like Thursday Europa and then the Sunday game and looking like warmed up shit on the Sunday, and knowing that it's going to be different the next week when we don't have a Europa fixture. It was nice to be on the other side of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that Newcastle have some injuries.
They've got heaps, I think.
I mean, in terms of sympathy, I don't want the narrative to be that they've got more than us. So I don't want to look up exactly how many they have. Because we've still got a lot of injuries too. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just two battlers going against each other.
Yeah. Except one is run by a lovable Aussie battler who's found his way to the top, and the other is run by an evil regime.
Yeah. I love that to benefit us, we will refer to our coach only, our manager.
Yeah. He owns it, right? He owns Tottenham.
He owns Tottenham. He should. Yeah. I want that would be great to have in his contract. It's like if you win X percentage of games, you start just getting shares of the club.
I wonder if that's a thing.
Well, I mean, like there are a lot of companies do that sort of thing. It's like, well, if you hit all these, KPIs over a number of years, then you can buy in as a partner or whatever. But that's not really a football club thing. But let's make it one. I would love Ange to run and I feel like it happens a little bit in football, I guess, where it's like you have ex-players. If they don't go into management, they end up going and become like some sort of more like CEO, general manager type role. There, I guess Ange is like he's on the older side, so he's probably leaving a bit late, but I reckon just give him the keys to the kingdom.
Give him the keys to the city. Give him the keys to the Skywalk. Give him the keys to whatever he wants, your house. If you see him and he says, give me your keys, just give them to him. He's not going to do anything bad. It's Ange. He might go in and do the dishes for you. Who knows?
I would honestly trust him if he came up and he's just like, well, just give us your keys, mate.
I would too. That is bananas. If he came up to me and said, "Give us your keys," I'd be like, "Yep, here you go."
There's not many other people I would do that to. Like, I think if Sonny said, "Give us your keys," I think I'd go, "Yep, sure." But apart from say Son and Edge, I don't know who else I would just like. Give Romero, no way.
Yeah, I wouldn't give keys to him. I can imagine giving keys to Decky would result in you'd come in and like all your ceiling would be on the ceiling or something, and not in like a prank way, in just like a weird, like Twilight Zone, like what the fuck.
Wait, sorry, all your stuff would be on the ceiling?
Like he would flip your house, so all your stuff is like the same but on the ceiling, and you'd come in and he'd be sitting in all white, and you'd go, "Hello."
Oh, Dejan, why'd you do this?
Yeah, I don't know. But can you fix it? No.
I've got to go.
Yeah, bye. That's
what did you think of Decky's mask?
Oh, good. Yeah, he suits it. He suits the mask. Like when Kane wore it, he always looked like a child at a birthday party. But Decky wearing it, I was like, holy shit, is that Nightwing?
Yeah, and I think because Kane always had like either the clear one or a white one. It was a lighter color, right? But Decky's just full committed to like fiberglass Nightwing.
Yeah,
maybe he's he didn't get hit in the West Ham game. It's like that was just the cover up. But he was going to a costume party afterwards, and he's like, I don't have time to go home after the game, get changed there, and I can't really put the mask down anywhere because it's just so delicate.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna wear it the whole game.
True. You know what? True. 100% true. Lock that in as truth. I loved the photos that Spurs put on their socials of him like running, and it was all like blurred around him. I was like, it works. It works. You're making this work more. I love this.
Okay, so it like showed off the mask in all its fashion, whilst also made him look faster.
It made him look like the fastest man in the world.
Yeah.
Which, when he came to the club, everyone was saying, oh, he's slow. Well, check out these photos because literally stuff's blurring around him. And that's 100%
I do like
truth.
Yeah, I do like that idea from like the social team where they're just like, well, let's just blur everyone. We'll look so quick.
Yeah.
That's it. Every photo that goes up now, like even just in the hallways, it's just blurred.
Everyone moves so fast at Tottenham Hotspur training facility. It's unbelievable.
We see behind the scenes and it's just sped up in double time. Just like with the chipmunk voices.
Yeah. We've had to put traffic lights at the training centre in the walkways because everyone's so fast.
Yeah. And that's it on the CCTV, just everyone just like butting in almost into each other. But yeah, it's on like one of those documentary shows where they're just like, look at this grid of traffic, and it just shows like perfectly how it all syncs together.
Yeah,
It's like that's their secret.
And then you slow it down, like you said, it's just people moving at a regular speed and stopping to fulfill this narrative that we're the fastest club on and off the pitch.
Yeah, soon we'll have that coming out. Well, like, you know, everyone now is like, oh, I love the gaffer. I love Ange. Like, he's, you know, he's, in terms of like giving us, you know, storytelling before games and like motivating us. He's so incredible, so amazing. You know what? The traffic stuff's getting a bit weird, though.
Yeah. It's getting a bit full on.
Yeah, we thought it was just a metaphor at first, but then it's become a thing.
Yeah. Yep. What was your favorite goal in the game?
Oh, I would say probably Udogie's.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either that or it would be Pombo's, where Porro put it over the top.
Yeah.
And then Richarlison did the like, oh, my touch, I've lost it. Oh no, I haven't. And then sort of put it away. It'd be one of those, but I think probably Udogie scoring his first goal. I think that was really nice, and like Son looked good off the left, I thought.
Yeah, I was surprised at how good he looked.
Yeah.
Mind you, he was playing against Trippier, so who has not been good for them, and looked like just completely gassed the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he got absolutely. I'm right in saying that he was playing because he plays at right back, so he would have been playing on side. He got done so bad. Was it Richarlison's first goal?
Yeah, I think he got done. Yeah, that's right, because that was another cutback. Because I think Sonny had scored one, got 2 assists.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was just masterful. Yeah, I felt like he's got this aura around him now, as if he's like this world class right back. Like since he went to Atletico and then came back to Newcastle. Like, admittedly, I haven't seen a huge amount unless we've played against them. But yeah, like it's like whether he was just completely gassed, like you said, or whether he's maybe not that incredible. But he didn't really look special. Son just completely got the better of him.
Yeah. I think, because there was so much, maybe it's like really good agent hype to sort of be like, he went to Atletico, Simeone taught him how to be like the best defender. He comes back to this new Newcastle, and he's amazing. But like, again, I've seen limited minutes, but I've never been like, "Oh, god damn! Why did we sell him?"
Yeah, no, I like that. It's kind of like, it's like, oh, where's Barney been? It's like, oh, he just went backpacking in Europe for a year, and then you come back and you're wearing a beret like all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's cultured now. He's cultured.
Yeah, but people will be like, "Why is he wearing that?" And you're like, "Well, he was actually he was trained. You see,
Yeah,
he was trained by the French, and not only just the French, the most French,
the most French, as French as you can get."
Jacques Lecoq from the Lecoq School trained him about wearing a beret. He's the best wearer of one in the world.
Yep. And then they'll be like, yeah, okay, cool, but like he's weird to hang out with now.
Yeah.
Like,
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He wears it well. That's all. That's the
wears
most
it
important
well.
thing.
Wears
So maybe
it
that
well.
is the Trippier situation that's going on.
Yeah. Well, another thing that's sort of like maybe a bit of a media created narrative is Ange. You know how Ange is kind of sold as being quite like calm and reserved on the touchline? He was going apeshit in this game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And like, I think it's not, it's one of those things where it's not true that he's actually just like calm, doesn't react, or he's not Conte level, but he's just like a normal manager, but we have to pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's like this idea that like, just because, he speaks calmly and, he's got a lot of maturity when he speaks in press conferences and just doesn't lose his mind. it's this idea of like, yeah, that's how he is all the time, just this laid back Aussie, just doesn't care. But I also noticed it. I think in the West Ham game there were a few chances we had, and he was nutting it on the sideline as well. And I think it's like, it's good. Like if he was standing there stoically through all these games, I mean, you want your manager to feel at least a little bit of emotion. You don't want like a Mikel Arteta closing down players on the pitch illegally.
Yeah.
You know, sprinting up and down the touchline all game. But yeah, you definitely want to see like if we miss a chance that, you know, and is not happy about it. And if we score, you want to see those little like fist pumps and that. I think he get like Porro ran over, gave him this giant hug after he passed it into Richarlison for that goal.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was really good. Don't you reckon Mikel Arteta is like one of those kids at a kid's birthday party where you're like, "Where's Mikel? Where's Mikel? We can't find him." And then someone finds him in the spare, like the second fridge in the garage where all the soft drinks are, and he's got like a 2-liter Coke because he's not allowed soft drinks at home, and he's just sucking it down like a teat.
Yeah, and he's just lying on the floor, just almost just drowning himself in it. Yeah.
And then it's clearly seen, and then the person who finds him says like, "What are you doing? Stop doing that!" And he's like, "Doing what? I wasn't doing anything."
Then as soon as they leave, it's straight back to just
straight back onto that big old Coke. The Udogie goal was it was so good, and one of the things I loved is the commentator said, he's been threatening to do that all season.
Yeah,
and like I get what he meant, because then he clearly was like, that was maybe weird, and clarified it afterwards. Was like running into the box then scoring. But it just sounded funny that he would be like, "You watch out. Hey man, you watch out. Because I might do something pretty... I might score a tap in."
Yeah, I might do it. Yeah. For weeks. Yeah. This has been on my agenda.
Season. Yeah.
Yeah, the main commentator we had was... in my mind, I say Gary Mowbray, but I don't think that's right. But it's the guy who's, you know, very, very kind of like posh-sounding Eurovision announcer.
Yeah.
And the thing that he did as well was he spoke about Richarlison's celebration. And he's like, "And Richarlison doing the famous turkey dance."
I missed that. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean turkey dance? Like everyone knows his whole thing is like the pigeon.
Yeah.
Like there's a song in Brazil, I think, by some like rapper there who's like, it's about pigeon noises and it's about Richarlison. Like, it's pigeon. Like, where did turkey dance come from?
And not only turkey dance, the famous turkey dance.
Which makes it even worse, because it's like you're trying to play like, "Oh, no, I know what it is. Don't worry, everyone. I know what it is."
Yeah, everyone does.
Everyone
obvious.
does.
So obvious.
Do you think I don't know what it is? Of course I know what it is. The famous turkey dance.
Yeah, the famous turkey dance. I love that so much. Oh my God.
It was one of those moments where I was just like, what? Like, how do you even get to that?
How do you get to it? By loving... that man is a turkey lover.
That's it, really. It's like, he's just like, how can I slip in a turkey reference?
He just wanted to mention turkeys. And then he saw that, and he knows it's a pigeon, but he was like, this is the chance that I can slip in my love for turkeys.
Yeah, I'll get away with it. I reckon no one will pick up on it.
I heard that Gary, if it is him, old mate Gary, actually lives with 3 turkeys as housemates.
They are his children.
Yeah. And I heard that they welcome him home at night. Sometimes he has to stop. He drives to the stadiums when he's commentating, leaves them in the car, and gets in trouble because he's got his 3 turkeys sitting in the car. But we've all got our... I don't want to yuck his yum, but...
No, it's...
Yeah.
Now I feel bad. Because, maybe he's just trying to live his life, and he's just, he's living with these turkeys, and maybe all the time they're just constantly like, "Oh, Gary, can you just pick up some feed on the way home?"
Yeah. Can you mention us in the broadcast? We feel invisible.
You've been commentating for 35 years.
You haven't touched me in weeks.
Yeah. It's like, fine, I'll mention you in the game. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it. And don't worry. I'll make it seem like everyone knows you.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's their voice. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Anyway, Romero. A lot of people get. I've seen some wild takes on the football Twitter sphere thing with like, if he gets one more red card, we should sell him. It's like, okay. Let's just, whoa.
I saw someone put up that as well. Like, it was like, keep or sell with a picture of Romero. And I'm like, what are you, like, for real? Like, what? How is this even a question?
I don't understand. Like, what is the plan there to sell him and get someone who's like, who never fouls?
Yeah.
I think people take it. The reason why this is happening is they take the red cards personally, where it's like he doesn't even care. He's more interested in trying to break someone's leg than the club and our successes. And it's like, I don't think it's that deep, blood.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. It reminds me as well. It's like the last 10 years, we've all, I guess, especially through like the Poch era, there was just a big thing of like, it's just a team of like little babies, like little boys getting bullied around by, look at Chelsea, look at John Terry. We need to play we need a Roy Keane. We need someone in there with a bit of grit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, finally we get someone, and it's just like, I don't like his fouls, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. I love the description of Poch's Tottenham as just little babies.
Yeah.
Because that is how they were portrayed in the media.
Yeah. And it was a thing for so long of just like, and like all the pundits would say that after games, like there was just the whole thing. Even up into the Mourinho era, where it was just like no leaders in this team, no one willing to just put in the hard yards and do any of this stuff. And now we have that, and it's like, well, let's get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Yeah. Oh, no, too much. That's actually not what we want. And like whatever. Like, I didn't think the tackle was like, whoa, he's lost his mind. I've heard some arguments that it should have been a setting off. I don't care. It wasn't.
It's like, I think objectively to look at that, I could see more of an argument for that to be a sending off than the one against Chelsea.
Yeah, me too.
So it's like, if he had gotten sent off, I would have been disappointed, but I don't think I would have been like, oh, nah, never a red. But, I mean, it's going to happen. It's like, and once we strengthen with another centre-back in, and once we get Van der Ven back, like, you kind of, I don't know, like, there's so many takes as well of, like, Romero's got to get rid of that from his game, he's got to get rid of that. But it's just like, you take that out of his game, and I think, to me, it always goes back to, like, Poch talking about Dele, like, where he was like, he's, I like Dele, he's a little bit naughty, and I don't want him to lose that. I like that he's got a little bit of a naughty streak in him. And I kind of feel the same with like Romero. It's like, if you came out and really tried to flatten that, and people used to talk about Rooney in that way as well. Like Rooney had a bit of a streak to him too, but you've got to say that some part of that plays into their brilliance and their strengths. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Dele when Dele lost that, for a whole variety of reasons that we now know, but lost that kind of naughty baby element. The rest of his game fell away too. Yeah. So, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Like, all our players just can't be this, like, spherical orbs who are just, like, perfectly balanced. It's like, we just want to have balance across it. So, like, cool. If Romero does do some naughty things and does get, like, sent off, then it's like, well, a couple of players on the teams we want, like a Ben Davies, who's a bit of a saint. And he's, like, never going to get sent off. And they just balance out in that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't put him anywhere near Son, who broke a man's leg. Yeah. Like, he's the worst for it. He snaps. Like, and, like, even to me, anything Romero's done doesn't. Like, the leg break was, he was going after him. He obviously didn't intend to do that. It was, he ended up running into, was it Aurier was there? And that was kind of, but like that kick out that Sonny did, it was very minor, but that to me is more egregious than anything Romero's done. It was more annoying because I was like, why would you do that? I don't, should that be a red card? Like, it was nothing. But at the same time, you know that that's going to be penalised.
Oh, definitely. And like you look at it as well, like at the Villa game, Romero's on the bench and on the field. Matty Cash goes after Bentancur.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think, like, not that I would condone, like, all right, he's going to snap us, then Romero should go out and kill him and murder him. But I think if we've got Romero on the pitch, I don't know if these other players are going to... Like, I think it is going to play into it. I don't think they're going to go maybe so hard on all of our players because you know that if you're going to go after Bentancur like that Romero is going to be right in your face instantly. And again, I'm not trying to, like, praise us becoming, like, toxic... like full Chelsea, like how they used to do it. But I think it's like, you do kind of need a bit of a protector in there who like the other team doesn't want to mess with.
I think you're talking about the like psychology of it with the perceived threat there, where it's like maybe then you're not so willing to, do things like that because you know that there's going to be a consequence, probably. Whether if there's not, then it's like, well, I can get away with this. And I don't mean, obviously there's a consequence of being sent off, but Romero's not there to then do whatever he's going to do. And like you saw it from the bench, Romero's face when he was, like saw it happen, and everyone was like, "Oh God, Matty Cash is dead in the return fixture." And I'm excited for, not that I want him to, get hurt, but I'm excited for the tension of that.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like it's also I was reading a study from like I think 2020 or something like that, and it was about commentators and how they talk about players. And it's like, do commentators speak differently when they talk about lighter skinned players versus darker skinned players? And they found, like, surprise, surprise, yes, they do. And it's like the darker skinned players are like more criticized for their physical attributes or for like being like making stupid decisions and stuff like that. The lighter skinned players are more often praised for their intelligence and things like that. So like an example of this is like Chiellini was always just like the commentators like, wow, he's just a master of the dark arts of football, isn't he? Oh, he just knows exactly what to do with all the... And it was... But then you do that and you get Romero and it's just like, oh, thug, absolute wild, rubbish. But like people like Chiellini, Bonucci, like, a lot of Italian centre-backs, they were always praised for, for like finding ways that were not maybe fully within the laws of the game on how to get the upper hand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you start, on that, once you start noticing how commentators speak to their own inherent racial profiling, you start noticing all kinds of stuff, like the fact that black players get referred to as athletic, workhorses, having, like this great physical kind of stamina, all that kind of stuff. White players are clever. They do clever things. Black players, they don't get referred to like that. And then also if a black player does something that is clever, it's called, they often gets referred to as magic, special, all these things that don't actually attribute the skill of the move to the player. It's this ethereal kind of like, they were mystic, racist, gross shit, basically.
Totally. Yeah. And like, I think the report talks about that sort of stuff too, where it's like, if you have like someone like Craig Dawson, he's, blue collar, like that's the sort of idea with like these white rough centre backs, like blue collar defender, But like with a darker skinned player, it's kind of like, oh, it's just natural talent. They didn't have to work for any of their positives, this, that, and everything else. But yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing is where it gets messy is that generally, if a black player isn't playing well, they get called lazy, right? Where it gets messy is then Ndombele at the time. There is all this stuff around him being lazy, which you couldn't say didn't then... If everyone was saying he's a workhorse at that time in the media and he catches wind of that, then maybe he is. So you can't really separate them. But it did turn out that actually didn't really commit that hard to training. So it's like, but that's an individual. I think the other thing with what you said about blue collar, what does that mean? Blue collar means honest, hardworking, rising above your class through your pure skill, intelligence, inherent gifts, toughness. Whether that doesn't get you, I don't know if I've ever heard a black player being referred to as like blue collar.
Yeah.
No.
No, never. And it's like, yeah, like, I guess, to bring it back to a challenge like this, like, someone like Craig Dawson will do tackles like this all the time. Like, but it's still not under that same, scrutiny of someone like Romero.
Which, was it Alvarez that did that, like, barge on Porro? Was it Alvarez, or am I... where Porro ends up, like, flipping in the air?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if we're talking about... So, Romero getting sent off against Chelsea, which I'm never gonna forget, because I still think it was absolute bullshit. It's like, okay, he got the ball, but then he followed through, and that's risk to the player, and you can't endanger another player, and if it's serious risk of danger, then it's a red card. Porro could have broken his neck, like, and it got nothing. Like, if that's the metric, and it's because of the region where he was hit on his back, where everything's so focused, because we've seen leg breaking tackles, we've seen all that stuff. It's almost like it's going to take something like that to go really badly for it to sort of get noticed. Because when it happened, I was like, that's a red card. Surely that's a red card. But no, nothing.
Just nothing. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, something that I just recalled which popped up. Did you notice for the ads on the sides of the ground that, like, we've got that Socios, like, fan token or whatever it is, which we've spoken about, but there was a new one called Fan Block.
Oh,
have you heard about this?
No.
Which it just looks like utter, like, rubbish. It's like you own a digital block of Spurs pitch.
What?
So I think it's like you can go on and buy, I assume with crypto, like a portion of the pitch on some online, system.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, it's just like,
what?
I feel like it's getting out of hand a little bit of, like, just all the ways that, like, you can own a part of Spurs or a part of the club that aren't actually, like, official things that the club is doing. It's not like the club have gone, we're actually selling, like, plots on the pitch that you can own as an official thing. It's like, now we got this fan block. You could buy the digital pitch. It's not. It's just like, it seems like it just stood out to me of, like, just another, like, kind of exploitative thing to try and get people to go and buy this non-existent thing.
I mean, I don't know anything about it, but that's insane. That's like me, like, trying to start a business saying you could buy digital blocks of the sky.
Barney, let's talk after recording.
Yeah. It's a great idea, huh? And so you own that block of the sky. So what does it, like? What does it mean if you own a digital block of the ground? Like, every time they go to that region of the ground, you're like, "That's my pitch. That's my bit.
That's my bit." But then they're gonna be like, "Oh, but actually, hang on, not the physical one, or the digital one, which is never used or never seen apart from anyone who logs into FanBlock." Like,
what?
It's wild. So it's like we could come up with any idea and go like, all right, we're selling parts of Son's body.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to own Son's digital hamstring?
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all.
So insane. What did make sense was Udogie signing a new contract until 2030, though.
Yeah. Hello.
That's great.
That was amazing. I'd like to think that they were just like, well, Destiny, we really want to sign you to a long-term deal, but you've got to score one goal. Once you score that one goal, we'll sign you up.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm so pleased that he's got that length of contract.
Oh, yeah.
So we can keep him for as long as possible. Unless he gets shit, then let's sell him. But yeah, really enjoying his contributions to the team.
Yeah, and to me, it's like he's a player that it's not like he's immune from any criticism in games, but like he obviously against West Ham made the pass back
Yep.
to Vicario, which one of the commentators at the time was like, Vicario's just got to pick up the ball then. It's like, if he picks it up, it's a pass back. You can't do that. Like, it's not Vicario's fault. That's clearly on Destiny. But I'm also like, I'm not going to criticize Destiny because he is a child.
Yeah. I didn't, again, miss that. The commentator said, why didn't he just pick, that's like, why doesn't someone just pick up the ball and run to the other end?
Yeah.
That's what they should be doing.
Exactly. It was like, oh, Vicario's got to be braver there. For me, just pick up the ball, collect it, instead of, because Vicario kind of punched it. So I don't know if there's like a loophole where if you get a pass back, you're allowed to like punch it away. But yeah, it was just like, oh, he's got to be braver. He's got to be braver there. I mean, like, this is, I don't think it was the same commentator, even though it went back into that same
turkey voice.
Same turkey voice. Oh, little turkey man, you've got to be braver there.
Yeah. I would be okay with it if you said that.
Yeah, if they'd said that, then it's a pass. But I think, yeah, like, I'm so happy for Udogie to make mistakes because there's, like, such a huge upside to his game. And, like, he is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's bloody brilliant. Another one of my famous segues. Dan, do you know who's not brilliant? Callum Wilson. Didn't score. Got into a beef with Vicario because Vicario pulled a silly face at him. That was my favourite moment, I think, of the whole game.
Is that what happened? Is that why? Because I saw the afters of them, like, because was that after the game when they were going off or at halftime? Or I don't know. There was something where Vicario was like having to be pushed away.
Yeah, that was at the end of the game because Vicario he had the ball and he ran past Callum Wilson and he went like, or something like that. And that just absolutely sent Callum Wilson to 100 kilometers an hour brain. He was like, what? No one does that to me.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. That's like, yeah, I've disliked Callum Wilson since the Richarlison stuff. Where he was like on that podcast with, I think it was maybe Antonio. And they were just like chatting shit about Richarlison not scoring and all this sort of stuff and everything there. So, which is also great that Richarlison got 2 goals in this game.
Yeah. And Wilson got none. Did he get none?
He got none.
Yeah, great.
But the commentator said in the game, Wilson scored 4 times against us in the past.
Is that Bournemouth as well?
That might have been it too.
Yeah. But my favourite bit, he like turned into the biggest cop. Like the biggest win cop. He was like, so after the game, I asked him about it, and he was like, "Well, there's a right way to win, isn't there? And not be disrespectful." It's like, dude, how can the narrative be that Vicario is a sore winner and wins the wrong way when it should be you flip out if people make faces at you?
Yeah, it's
like that should be the narrative. Callum Wilson, his main trigger is silly faces.
Yeah, I would have liked if they got pushed back on that. Like, well, but Callum, was it just a silly face that set you off? Like, surely that's a you thing to...
Yeah, that's a you thing that you should probably think about. Maybe you think about the fact that maybe you'd had a frustrating game and that's why it bothered you so much.
Yeah.
No.
Vicario's just like, oh, I've just got resting silly face.
Yeah, I just pulled silly faces. But then also it's like, well, Vicario doing that was to rile up Callum Wilson. It worked.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, tick. Rather than, like, never pull a silly face on a pitch, especially near Callum.
Like, there's got to be that element of, like, trash talking in sport. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not saying you want to win by trash talking or, like, I think there is a line that you go to in trash talking. Like, when you look at, like, Materazzi and Zidane, like, that's crossing the line in terms of, like, trash talking. But, like, if you've got something like this where it's, like, Vicario's trash talking is pulling a silly face. And then it's just like afterwards, like, you know what? There's no more honor in this game. There's the sport's gone. No honor from this team.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I'd rather not play at all than play with a team that disrespects me with these faces.
I'd rather us lose like we did today. I'd rather us get battered than, I can go home and sleep well knowing that I didn't pull a silly face at someone.
Yeah, that's right. Tonight, I'll be sleeping in what would be described by others as a neutral mask. That's what I am. I am just a neutral mask. I would never, ever warp my face into some kind of silly expression.
I'm going to have to go back and see this because I really want to see this Vicario face now.
It is
like, what was
the most, whatever face.
Yeah.
But also another great transition here. Talking about trash talking, I saw the greatest Sky Sports segment about Tottenham, and I loved it so much because it was about the title. If you want to look it up, the title of the video is "Did we see the real Spurs in their 4-1 win against Newcastle?" Right, and whoever it is asks poor Sue. He says, "Was this the real Tottenham?" And Sue replies with, "Well, that's a hard question to answer," which I love because it still sounds like they're going to have a debate whether there's been some kind of bizarro doppelganger Spurs for the last, imposters, and now finally the real Spurs are back. Like the idea, just the very notion that this is on television, that people are talking about the real Spurs. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
For when we've lost the fake, even if it's the same players, was this the fake Spurs and this is the real one? What? Why were they being fake? Why are these now? What about them made them more real?
I'd love it if they went back and saw the footage from those games and it's like, hang on, wait a second. And then they noticed every player has just got one of those rubber Halloween masks on. And it's like, hang on, that's not Ben Davies.
Actually, Ben Davies, I wanted to say his save pretty much when he tipped the ball up was amazing.
Oh, incredible. That's great. I think Ben Davies has been solid since he's had to step in. Like, he definitely looks a lot better with Romero next to him than
so much better.
Emerson. But I think Ben Davies, he's someone else who catches a lot of flack, and it's like he gets bundled now with all of the the frustration around not winning things with Poch and going through all these different managers. It's like now Ben Davies is the one that's kind of copying all that with same players letting down another manager. And it's like, to be completely honest, I think Ben Davies, when he was under Conte, he did really, he had an amazing season. But I just think when he's been called upon, sure, we don't want him starting as a team, but as a squad player, I think he's an excellent, utility defender.
Yeah, agree. I don't understand and it's a shame that he gets roped in with, or associated with that kind of narrative. It's like, well, here's gentle Ben.
Yeah.
At it again, ruining our chances. It's like, he's had poor games. All our players have had, every player in the Premier League's had poor games. He's definitely not the main offender.
Oh, totally.
That has caused, us not to have more success than we've had.
No, for sure. We should be nice to gentle Ben. Barney, something that we got in this game, which we have not seen all season, was we finally had a penalty.
Can you believe it?
I couldn't believe it.
When it happened, I assumed that I was like, won't be a penalty. I'm so defeated by not getting penalties that I assumed, even though it was such a gregarious penalty, nothing. But there was something this time.
Yeah. And it was even when Son was stepping up to take it, I think commentators were like, well, he's only taken 4 club penalties. And he's scored 3 of them and missed 1, and it's like, okay, cool. So just normal statistics for converting penalties. Great. And then I'm just like, it's Son. The guy scored over 100 Premier League goals. What do you I was like, great. Son, I'm sure, has been waiting in the wings this whole time of when Harry goes, I'm gonna be penalty guy.
Yeah.
And he just placed it beautifully.
Yep. Which, it's funny that record of 3 out of 4 is 80%. When the chance of scoring a penalty is 70%. I think it's 70%. But if anything, it's he's doing either at average or better than average.
Yeah, well, I think 3 out of 4 would be 75%, right? And I'm pretty sure that's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's bang on. Like the average, it's like I think an XG for a penalty is 0.75
Oh, right. There you go.
or maybe like 0.76, something like that. But it's like
Yeah.
it's bang on what the average is.
Yeah. These guys that are talking on the football don't know anything.
One thing I liked, we had Gio come on.
Yeah.
Now, do you notice whenever Gio comes off the bench, he's always trying to pull his clothes down as far as they can go?
Yeah, what is the deal with that?
Like it's every single time. It's like he'll pull his shorts down a little bit. He's got his socks already up over his knees. He'll pull down his like his little sleeves. He'll pull down his shirt, and he keeps adjusting. I'm just like, is he just the coldest little boy in North London?
Yeah, yeah. Or he's going for he's like, make them think you're a gangster. And he's like trying to make everything as loose as possible. Or he's like, don't let them see your skin.
When I was young, they told me never show your skin on the football pitch.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what is. He does do that every single time.
Yeah, it's like and it's kind of weird because it's like it's just not a very confident way to enter the pitch.
No.
If you see someone coming on, they're just like constantly just adjusting.
Yeah, these clothes don't fit me.
Yeah. Because I got to get it exactly right, otherwise I might not play that well.
Yeah, yeah. So uncomfortable. Yeah, that's great.
And I think we also had in this game, we had Højbjerg going back to his night manager role. Which is what I like Pierre in this, where it's like he comes on for the late shift just to he's got the keys and he's like, don't worry, I'll shut up the shop. Everyone, go home. You've done a good job. It's all good.
Yeah, I love him in the night manager role. You know that when you unlock in the morning, everything's going to be pristine.
Yeah, beautifully pristine.
Did he give the ball away though for their goal?
There might be one little spill on the table.
Yeah, yeah, there's a little spill, but it's not like red wine.
No, it's not red wine. It's not going to stain.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We have a question. Dan, would you like me to read it to you?
Yeah.
Which one of the new players have you taken to the most? This is from Ramphy, by the way. I would say Maddison, but then Vicario pulled a disrespectful face at Callum Wilson, and now I don't know anymore. All the new guys are great, though. And then in our Discord, Caroline replied and said something about Ben Davies, and so then Ramphy goes on to say, Ben Davies is not only severely underappreciated, in my opinion, but an unsung hero. Guy never complains, works his ass off, versatile as hell, no off-the-pitch scandals, and seems like the loveliest guy too. I'll die defending him if I have to.
Yeah, great. So I got lost in the Ben Davies praise for the initial, but it's good. It's good. Like there we go. Ben Davies getting some praise. That's good.
There you go. Yeah. So who's your new guy fave?
I just pictured it as if we've got our own on our social profiles or something. It's like new guy fave, and we all get to list tag one player in there.
Yeah.
My new guy fave. I feel like it honestly, it keeps changing. It's really challenging. Like Maddison is definitely in there, but then he'll be out, and then Vicario. I'm like, Vicario. I love Vicario so much because as well, I just love that he never stops. And he collects the ball and he goes straight away. He gets up, runs for it's just so great. But then Destiny, I'm in love with Destiny too. It's really, really challenging because it's I feel like for the first time in quite a while, it's I just love our whole squad in terms of who we're putting together. I'd say if I had to pick one, it's probably Maddison. Yeah. I'd say because I think whilst plays like Udogie, Vicario, I think they're really, really good. Maddison, when he's playing well, I feel like he's a world-class attacking midfielder. And so I'd say probably Maddison would get the nod. My mate. Who's your new guy fave?
My new guy fave is... Oh, it's hard. I mean, I think it's hard not to say Maddison. But for the sake of difference, I'm going to say Vicario.
Yeah. But it's a good thing to have where it's just for all the players that have come in, we're not sitting here going oh, we've got one good player and 5 flops.
Yeah, it's not the Bale 7 where if you ask that question, everyone's like, Ericsson.
Yeah,
Obviously Ericsson.
oh, clearly Ericsson, and then someone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I reckon maybe Paulinho for me."
Yeah, I love Paulinho.
It's like, what?
Uh,
No.
mm,
But yeah, it's like everyone who's come in, and it's like Johnson. I think I'm liking what I'm seeing from Johnson,
yeah.
and oh, if he scored, like that was such a lovely shot that
Oh, it was fantastic,
hit the
eh?
and I was so gutted for him for that not to go in.
Mm,
And I just feel like Johnson's growing into his position in the team,
mm,
and I still think just give him a little bit more time.
mm.
But I'm starting to see just a lot of positives from him as well. So it's it's like I don't know. Sarr also seems like I know he's been around for a while, but and was kind of unused. But I mean,
Mm.
can he qualify for new guy fave in the mix?
Well, I think if he counts, I choose him. I choose him because he was so good in this game. It was unreal.
Yeah,
He was
And
everywhere.
he's like he's so great as well. And again, a child,
Hmm.
like so. Yeah, I feel like it's so nice that even through this spell where we lose a few games, it's so nice to be like, I still love all of our players. I
Mm.
still have an attachment to it. I'm not just going like, need to sell them all. We've lost. Oh no, what's wrong here? It's
Mm.
like I just love like the makeup of the squad. And if we've got like a full strength team at the moment, I'm like that's a very very good team, full of players which are all very very good footballs. Like Porro to me feels like he should be in the mix for new guy fave as well
Yeah,
because like
true.
he's playing out of his skin at the moment,
Mm. Hmm.
and there were like people before the start of the season saying like, Porro was, he's a wing back, he's a Conte wing back,
Mm.
who Conte didn't use,
Mm.
he's a Conte wing back, he won't be able to play Andrew's system, and you look at him and it's like the passion he shows
Yeah.
all game long, plus the skill that he has, like everyone's in the mix,
Mm. Everyone.
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 They need a big lucky dip container, and then
Yeah.
that's
Put him in there like Duncan for apples. Is that what it's called? Bobbing for apples?
bobbin for apples where you go with your head to put it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Um. So our next game is against Nottingham Forest.
Mm.
And then we play Everton. Obviously, Nottingham Forest, we play against the old rival REA.
I was waiting because I was like, what? Like they've signed, 1,000 players. Like, how
Mm.
many of our ex players do they have in there?
Yeah.
But yeah, REA, and then I
Mm.
guess that would be Johnson's first game against them since he
Oh, yeah.
since he left, and it could be depending on where Johnson plays and if he's starting, it could be Johnson on REA. Isn't that a
Whoa.
storyline we've been waiting for?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With Aurier and the type of player that Aurier is, he will undoubtedly score a goal in this game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Hmm.
He's got that in him. He's got a good shot.
Yeah. But he's also got that, like, he's got that dog in him. He's got that, like, that just happens with him for some reason. Like, that kind of, as he was so maligned by a lot of fans,
Yeah,
that of course he's going to score.
yeah.
He's like a wrestling heel.
I still always remember that time where I think a ball was like coming past him and he didn't want to touch it and he dropped to the ground, like went flat and then jumped back up and then went around. I'm like, I've never seen anyone deal with like, I don't want to touch the ball. I could just move out the way. I could just lean back a little bit.
Yeah.
And speaking of dropping to the ground, did you see the mascots before the game? The Spurs mascots before the
No. Oh, the kids.
Newcastle game? The kids, where they were like getting all warmed up and like doing like push-ups and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was amazing. And the one that I think was with Son, when he's out there, he's like waving, he's blowing kisses to people. It was incredible.
yeah, it's so
Like just commit to it. You're never probably going to get to this again.
yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
Um,
loved it.
and sorry, back to the upcoming fixtures. The Forest one, I'm feeling pretty confident about, but like Everton, even though we are at home, Everton have gone on a decent enough run
Yeah, yeah,
lately.
they have. Yeah.
Uh, and that, do you know, is Delhi playing for Everton at the moment?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Because they've won 4 out of their last 5.
Pretty good.
And they would be far higher up the table than if they didn't have the 10-point deduction.
Yeah.
For that. But I hope that it's like, I'm just checking the table now. They are in 17th. They are 4 points clear of relegation. I know it's still a long season to go, but it's like, I feel a lot more comfortable when like we play a team that's kind of like mid-table, and it's like, Everton, if they like had a few wins and they're like, all right, we've had a few wins. Oh, maybe we can chill for a second. Maybe we don't need to go all out against us. But even having said that, like if we could play like we did against Newcastle, I think, that's an easy 6 points against Forest and Everton, right?
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Famous last words. And then Brighton, Bournemouth, and then Burnley, and then Man U is mid-January. I know this gets very like overly optimistic, but Forest, Everton, Brighton, they've kind of, mixed bag with things, and Bournemouth and Burnley. Like we could still go on a little run here. And then but Man U, they've been picking up points left, right, and centre, haven't they? Oh no, they've still been a little bit mixed. Yeah. Yeah. We're still above them. Anyway, I think it's just overall I'm saying like I feel like even with Maddison still being out and whatnot, like there's what you would think are a lot of winnable games there.
Yeah, I reckon we're going to win them all 6-0.
That would be. I just imagine you going into like the bookies and you're just like, yeah, next 5 Spurs games, 6-0 wins, all of them. Put it in a multi for me, thanks.
They'd be like, have you got someone with you that makes your decisions for you? No.
Are you allowed to be in?
Yep.
I want to put $100 on that, please.
In fact, double it, $200.
And they're like, we just feel so bad even taking this bet because, the chances are 5 billion to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's why I'm making the bet.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rich.
Yeah, so it could happen. 6-0 all around. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, me too. I'll be up for it, especially now that I've put $500 on it. I just did it then.
You really need that to come through.
Yeah.
Trying to manifest it.
Yeah, I'll make a vision board.
Yeah. Is that what I see in the background? It's just your vision board of 6-0 for the next 5 games.
Yeah, that up there, that's my vision board. And I've drawn lots of little players, and they're all going 6-0.
6-0. I just love that you're just sitting there every morning, and you're just sitting there, and it's like your housemate's like, Barney, this is like you have no control over any of this.
Yeah, and I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. If I draw these little figures good enough, I'll have ultimate. Yeah, that's every morning.
Yep.
Well, I need to get back to some drawing, so let's wrap it there.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, as always, I've been Barney.
I've been Dan.
And come on, you Spurs.